Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sorry it's been a while. There's been a lot going on over here, but I do want to show you some of the African violet water cultures that have been blooming and some progress. Just a little quick video for you. The last video I had posted was about the yarn cultured violet, and I thought that the larger leaves were possibly rotting. Turns out they weren't. Um, Here's the funny story, not really funny. I unwrapped it. Roots looked really healthy and thick. They weren't that long, but they didn't need to be because they were getting all the moisture they needed from the yarn. So I unwrapped it. I put it in back into its vessel and filled up the water. Everything was great. The bloom started to open, as you can see. And then I got sidetracked, and I guess a week later, because it's been almost 2 weeks, I think, since the last video, I forgot to top it up because the roots weren't long enough to wick the water all the way up as the water decreases. And the roots started to dry up, and the leaves started to get limp. So, wilted leaves, the large leaves anyway, but it's not stopping it from blooming. It's still blooming. We still have the nice new leaf growth on the inside, but you'll see this horrible show of roots. Look at how sad that is. So horrible. You can see where they were, but most of them dried up because I was a doofus and I was not keeping on top of it. But you could see those petioles for the long leaves not rotted at all. They're actually doing very well. But I may have to remove the large leaves if these roots don't regenerate quick enough, because I don't want the whole plant to suffer because there's too much moisture loss from these leaves. So I may end up taking them off. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, the plant was extremely happy, as you can see from the blooms. Has not cut them off and dried them up. So far so good. But yeah, I feel really horrible because it looked so good and so healthy, and it was just ready to bloom, and then started to bloom, and I forgot to water, and really bad. Yeah, so like I thought they were rotting at the base, they were not. But now I have to go through the task of having it reroot itself all over again, which is not a big deal. I mean, if I really, really need to, and if I want to keep these leaves, I'll just tent it. I'll put a tent over it, a bag, to keep the humidity in. I know this is going to come back. I'm not concerned about that. I just feel so bad because I wanted something exciting to show you guys after I removed the yarn. But anyway, next violet is the Semiminiature Cool Blue. Still blooming away. I have not lost a flower yet. It has not dried up. These are like very, very long lasting, which is pretty awesome. The leaves are doing very, very well. There's an old leaf there with a scar, but the rest of the leaves are doing fantastic. And let's take a look at those roots. The roots are beautiful. Look at that. Everything is going according to plan. I do have a lot of airspace for those roots. It's time to clean out the vessel. Got some algae in the bottom, not a lot, but I'm going to clean it out and top it up to about there. So there's like an inch of root exposed to the air for oxygen. And this will continue to bloom out. Let me see if there are any other buds in there. I don't see any other buds. So nothing else for now, but I wanted you to see how beautiful these flowers are. Still semi-double, bluish purple, just fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. Been blooming for a while. And the last one I have for this video, since I'm rounding everything up, is the Romance with the variegated leaves. This was the one that had severe root and stem rot. I had to chop it all off and start from scratch. There was just about this many leaves, none of the outer leaves, just like the inner. You could check the old video and see exactly how big it was, but it was much smaller than this. And been taking good care of it, because look at these beautiful roots. Love them. Fantastic. So this plant gets half to quarter strength hydroponic nutrients. I'm able to leave a little bit more of an airspace. We're getting to an inch, not quite an inch yet. As you can see, it's like a half inch. But eventually, when the roots get long enough, will be able to supply about an inch of airspace and for the roots to get their oxygen, but this plant is doing extremely well. One thing that I do want to mention, this is something that I've been noticing for some of the violets, and I'm not being very good about keeping that space of air. Some of them, if the water is just a little bit too high, you can very, very easily get crown rot because African violets have the fuzzy leaves and the fuzzy stems. They wick water extremely well all the way up. So it's not a good thing for the crown if you have the water too high. So if I was to leave this water right at the base of that stem, like so the entire roots, all of the roots were submerged, very easily I would get crown rot. It just wicks all the way up to the crown and very easily can rot it out. And I've been noticing that with some of my violets. So probably one of the reasons why a lot of people don't put their African violets in water culture because of that. Now, perfect example of leaving a nice space and allowing the roots to breathe and no sign of crown rot is the cool blue, because it has nice long roots and I'm able to give even more. This is about almost 3 inches of airspace for the roots. So it just goes to show you, the longer the roots, the more airspace I have to supply, or that's what I've learned, especially recently. Because a lot of times when I'm topping them off, I go, a little too high, and I should just make sure that there's at least an inch, maybe more. If the roots are long enough, I can even do more than that, because those roots, when they kind of bind together, they wick up moisture really, really well onto themselves. So that's something that I definitely I need to keep in mind. So let me give you an example of that. This is my semi-double blush that had a lot of blooms all around. It's still blooming, you can see, but it lost a lot of the spikes that were here. And look at the crown. Do you see how the crown is all rotted? This is crown rot. This is crown rot from water that's been too high. Now, you can see that I don't have it all the way up, but that's because most of the water has been either used up or evaporated. So this stalk may not make it. It's still firm. I don't feel the petals wilting, but I already pulled one leaf off the center. You can see this leaf is getting ready. It's turning brown, and the crown is pretty much rotting. So I'm going to have to core out the middle here and put some sort of a barrier. If I want to keep this in water culture, which I do, I have to put some sort of a barrier to prevent the water from wicking high enough into the crown that it can continue this rot. But I know I can save this. It's just I get mad at myself because just for the same reason that I haven't posted a video in about 2 weeks is, things have gotten a little insane over here. And, other things take priority, and then the poor plants have to suffer, and it's very upsetting, but I can get them back. I just feel bad for this little lady. She's beautiful. But I'll take care of her, and I'll probably do some follow-ups on her, but I'm going to give her some time to recuperate after I clean out this mess. And we'll probably get a new bud, a new crown growing out of above one of the leaves, probably one of the lower leaves, because the rot may go down a little bit further than we can see. But yeah, I'm very upset at myself. So that's that. I just wanted to show you an example. When the water's too high, this is what can happen. So do not do that. What you can do, and this is what I have done in previous videos, is if the root ball is not long enough to be able to allow at least an inch of airspace, I used to wrap around a piece of yarn that wicks the moisture up. And the yarn acts like long roots, except, the yarn doesn't actually absorb moisture into the plant, but it brings the moisture to the roots that are available from the plant. And here's another example of a yarn-cultured orchid. I always say that, African violet. This leaf obviously is very old, and this one had cold damage from a few months back. But you can see a lot of new leaves have grown. This is in nothing but yarn. And I keep the water level let's see, about maybe 2 inches from the bottom. The rest of this is nice and dry, so it's not going to get the crown rot. So when you're using the yarn, it's better to make sure that you keep the top part of the yarn dry, just like the inch or so of airspace. It's the same concept, just using a medium of yarn. So yeah, this one's been in here for maybe 2 months, something like that. It's been here for a while. I just haven't been feeding it. I've been watering it when I remember to, but now I'm going to start feeding it, putting it under the lights. We'll probably get some buds, and that is that. Anyway, gonna go take care of this little lady here. Thanks for watching. For the new subscribers I saw come on, thank you so much. Welcome. I'm so glad that you've subscribed and that you're here to see the videos. We have lots of fun. If you know anybody that enjoys this kind of stuff, please share, like, give a thumbs up, hit the bell if you want to be notified, and I will see you in the next video.